Uh, I got 13 people watching. What do you guys think? I was sorting comics, and I just I got to come up with a better system for that. So if anybody wants to come in, here's this. We'll just talk for a bit. I don't know. Uh, StreamYard is saying 13 people are watching, but YouTube. So maybe they're watching on Facebook and X. I don't know. But I just didn't like the angle. I didn't like everything, so I left. This is the light, overhead light on. This is the way I used to stream. I can't sort. So anybody want to a little bit better? Um, Anybody got any questions? Anybody want to say anything? Is anybody actually there? Uh, but the sorting comics just doesn't work. I didn't like that. So anything you want me to say? Anything you want to talk about? Anybody want to pop in? Uh, I'm gonna go turn this overhead light off, look like it normally does. I'll turn this light on. This is the unprepared stream. Tomorrow at noon is Chuck Dixon. There you go. That's the way it normally looks. Nick, you still around? You want to pop in? Anybody? This is the lamest comic book stream ever. So, you know what I'm going to do? I got 17 people watching. I enjoy doing this. What it is I'm going to talk about some of my characters. Come on. There we go. So we'll do this. Oh, I can't believe everybody didn't leave. Somebody want to comment? Somebody want to say something? Let me know that you're actually here, interested. So this is the art for the Mary Sue card. So here is Mary Sue, drawn by Renzo, colored by Oscar. So this is going to come free with when I ship out your comic. I'm going to stick one of these Mary Sue cards in with you, and as always, the back is going to have her stats on it. So Mary Sue front. This is going to be the back, and yes, it's going to look like the other series. And here is all of her stats. Here, yeah, and this is a character sheet from the game, from the game Villains Vigilantes. So you know what I mean? I just want people to understand that it's literally a character sheet to a game that came out in 1983. So yes, it's old fashioned. A couple of people, I they got a little annoyed of the way it looked, but I guess they just didn't understand what I was doing. I'm making character sheets. So if you buy the Villains Vigilantes game, you get this card. You could play with, you could role play as Mary Sue, or you could have her as an NPC, or you could just think I'm a crazy person that's making cards for a real niche out of topic. I mean, a game that's been pretty much dead since before most of you were born. Sounds crazy now that I'm saying it out loud. So this is that's the Mary Sue. So I thought it would be cool to just go down this list and show you some of the cards and talk about some of my characters. So this is King Fu. Kenny Kim is his real name, and he's the world's greatest martial artist and Elvis impersonator. So he was an Elvis impersonator, and he does have powers. He has like heightened agility. He has, let's see, that's King Fu. So this is the back. So when you get this, you'll see he. This doesn't mean anything to you unless you play this game or you play Dungeons Dragons. Then it should, his weight, his endurance, his agility is 36. So if the best human on Earth could get an 18, he has 36. So he's Spider-Man level agility. His intelligence is 15 out of 18, so he's pretty smart. His endurance is 18 out of 18. His charisma is 15, so he's a superior. Strength is 17, so he's not superhuman strength. In Villains and Vigilantes, in order to be considered superhuman, you have to have a stat of 19 or higher. Whereas 18 would be Olympic level, like top of the crop. So he is superhuman agility, and that's it. But everything else is really, really high. So just to put it into he's ninth level, 34 hit points. I don't know if anybody plays Dungeons and Dragons, but it's comparable to Dungeons. So I'm gonna go down this list and tell you what everything names. So name King Fu. That's his name. That's his secret. His secret identity is Kenny Kim. Side is good. He's 29 years old. He's level 9. So obviously, when you first start playing your first level, and you don't become what I like a competent superhero until around 4th level. Okay. I arbitrarily say that 20th level is like legendary. So like if you're 20th level, you're like Captain America level, So his hit points are 34. The average human in in Villains Vigilantes, the average male has about 6 hit points. So that's just show. So Kenny Kim was a FBI agent recruited into Project Red Cape by Marshall Strong. So I could read that origin. It's a little spoilery, but it really doesn't mean anything. So what are his powers? He has heightened agility plus 25. So his normal agility would be 25 points lower than this. So that would be 15. So even before he got the powers, he was a superior athlete. He was an FBI agent and martial artist and Elvis impersonator. He has heightened attack, so he does plus his level to any damage. So any damage. That's kind of the power that Bullseye has. Bullseye from the Daredevil comics. Like Daredevil can take a playing Bullseye can take a playing card, and not only is he accurate, but it does extra damage because that's his power. Well, that's kind of the same power that he has. So whatever he uses, heightened attack gives him that bonus with any attack. So whether he punches, kicks, uses a gun, he has heightened attack. So he's just, like Bullseye, And he has heightened expertise plus forward martial arts. So he has a bonus of 4 out of 20. So he has a bonus 20% chance with any when using martial arts. Oh, we got a. How you doing, Arkham? How's everything?
Doing good, John. How are you doing today?
I started out sorting comics, but I just couldn't get the stream to work from the back room, so I just popped in here, and now I'm actually explaining the cards. I realized I'd never really explained these cards before. You're a Dungeons Dragons player, right?
Yeah, all the way up into 5th ed, probably about 2 years ago is when I dropped right off.
What was the latest edition that you played?
5th ed.
Oh, you did play 5th. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you were listening to me explain all this, but can you make heads or tail of what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Well, you're. How long have you been playing Dungeons Dragons?
Honestly, the first time I played, I think I was 7 or 8.
Okay, so you're an old school
79-ish.
Yeah, so you're a grognard like myself. How's that for an old term? And are you losing weight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be losing weight. Good for us. Good for us.
I've been at it for uh, 5 months now.
Oh, good for you.
Except for this last month, since I started this new job, I haven't been able to go to the gym at all. It's like my arms are getting flabby again. I'm like, no. I got to build that back up a bit.
No. Well, it's at the point where I can notice now. So there you go.
Well, thank you.
So you're winning. You're winning. I'm losing weight too, but nobody's complimenting.
It's their lighting. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know.
I got the drama lighting, so it looks good. That's what it is.
Yeah, I gave up trying to fix the light. Whatever I do, when you look like me, unfortunately, lighting doesn't help. So I was explaining King Fu. Are you familiar with my King Fu character?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the back of King Fu's card. So I thought, I didn't want to stop streaming. I was in a mood to stream, and so I thought I'd explain the cards. So it's remarkably similar to Dungeons and Dragons. So, we all know what level means. We all know what hit points mean.
Mm-hmm.
His weight is his weight. His strength, it's the same thing. You roll 3 dice 6. So starting out with 3 to 6, I arbitrarily made 20 is so any stat 20 and above is superhuman, even though you can't roll a 19. A person could always train, and in Villains Vigilantes you could train, and it's one of the things I like so much better than the Dungeons and Dragons system. And again, I stopped playing it at second edition, so I'm sure
you left at the correct moment.
Oh yeah, thank you. Because I learned about Villains Vigilantes, and then because of my compulsive nature, I still bought the D&D second edition stuff, but I stopped. I played the second edition probably. I played Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition the most. Why am I lying? But I played a lot of second edition, and I thought there was good improvements in second edition. But anyway,
yes, absolutely.
In Villains Vigilantes, one of the things that I really liked is this concept of training. Now, this kind of bothered a lot of my players because in Dungeons and Dragons, when you go up a level, you just get stuff. You get like a package. And
right.
If you're a fighter, you get this. If you're a fighter, you'd roll 1d10 for extra hit points. And I didn't like that because your endurance could be 18, meaning you're the healthiest guy in the world. Your strength could be 18, meaning you're the strongest guy in the world. And then you roll a 1 for your hit points.
We always believed in our circle, anyways. I think they eventually made it a rule, if I remember correctly. Your first roll, the first level is automatically the max.
Okay.
So if you're a warrior, D12, 12 plus, say, 16 Constitution, I believe that's a +2.
Right.
And then so you're at 14 hit points at level 1.
But I didn't like that randomness. What won me over for Villains Vigilantes, and forgive me if this sounds too mathematical, everybody, but like if you have an endurance of 18,
mm-hmm.
there's a chart, and you have a hit modifier of 3.2. Then you have it's amazing that I memorized these. If you have a strength, you have a hit modifier of like 2.3. And then your intelligence will give you a hit modifier based on the number. Your agility will give, and what you do is you multiply all those numbers together, and then that gives you how much hit points you have. So you know what I mean? Your hit points are determined by how good your stats. And I love that your agility contributes to your hit points. Everything because hit points just isn't getting stabbed. It's like how healthy you are, how smart you are, everything rolled together turns into this hit point. Now, when you go up a level, you get to add 1 to one of your basic stats. So you can add 1 to your endurance, 1 to your intelligence, 1 to your agility, 1 to your charisma, 1 to your strength. Now, I also must point out in my house rules, I created will as a stat. So Dungeons & Dragons, you have wisdom, but like, how many times do superheroes refer to their will? So I thought it was lacking. So believe it or not, I created another stat that I use. So when I someday make my role-playing game, I will have will. And then I created another stat called humanity. And humanity is how good you are. Superman would have a high humanity. The Punisher would have a low humanity. And humanity is one of the ways, this is going to sound awful, but it's one of the ways you can control the players. Like every time, like, okay, so you're Wolverine. You go into Berserk Rage and you stab Jean Grey. I make a humanity roll. And if you roll under your current humanity, you feel so guilty nothing happens. But if you roll over you lose a point to humanity. And if your humanity goes down to 0, you lose your character. He becomes a non-player character. He just succumbs to it. So it's just but the higher your humanity, it also gives you boost to experience points, and it gives there's a lot of saving throws against like evil against your humanity. So you want a high humanity. It's not a dumpster, and you can use humanity for karma. So like,
yeah, I was gonna say the way you were describing it, like if you had a high humanity and as a superhero, you go up and defeat these supervillains. Say one of them you knew, or what you knew that was like forced into that group, or they would have killed him or whatever. Johnny Law comes over, they're ready just to bust heads. You're like, wait, I will handle this. I got that. Your humanity is so high, they'll be like, okay, you're responsible now. You got that. Well, if you had a low humanity, you'd be like, no, smack back, and then bust your head too.
No, well, charisma is how the public deals with you.
Gotcha.
So charisma is just like like how likable you are. I always tell people charisma just isn't physical beauty. It's the strength of your personality, and charisma is also a defense against emotion. So like other people attempting to manipulate you, like sexy girls trying to seduce you or whatever. So, but
charisma battle.
Right, and then will is just literally the strength of your mind, your ability to focus and things like that. So I added 2 stats, and then later on, I got tired of being an accountant. Like everybody, superheroes, they always accumulate money. So I created a wealth stat, and whenever you wanted to buy something, just give me a roll. Like it does, you don't really need to know how much money Tony Stark has or Peter Parker. You just need to know Peter Parker has a low wealth stat, and Iron Man. Tony Stark probably has like a 25 wealth. You know what I mean? So, okay, you want to buy a house? Okay, house is expensive. So expensive is a -5 modifier. You rolled under your stat. You had enough money to buy that house. Peter Parker, -5, but he only has a 7 wealth. He rolls a die 20. He rolled a 14. He can't afford to buy the house. You know what I mean? So it just works and everybody was like, you know what? It's so much better than keeping track of money and everything like that. So I added 3 stats, which I will include someday when I make a role-playing game. But anyway, so this game. So I was talking about training. So when you go up a level, so Kenny Kim had 8 points to that I could, and whenever I make up a character sheet, I spend their training. So what I rolled his stats, I rolled his powers. And then I decided that he was 9th level because he had a history and everything like that. So I gave him 8 more points to allocate to his stats. But training, for some reason, it's not argumentative, but it's just like when people play role-playing games, I realize that a lot of role players like were anal retentive. So they want rules. And I'm anal retentive to the max. Like I am super continuity. But when it comes to character, I don't like a railroad. I don't like it when the characters are on rail. Like Dungeons & Dragons with so many, like a lot of the character classes are differentiations without distinction. Like a barbarian isn't a class. A barbarian is either you're civilized or you're not civilized. So why? Yeah. So why is that a class? You could be an uncivilized fighter and you could be a civilized fighter. If you want to be a barbarian, that's the setting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Conan is a fighter. He's not he is a barbarian, but that's not a class. Like, and a thief is an action. So like to me, it's just like, okay, you want to be a thief? Steal things. Like a fighter can't steal things. If a fighter steals things, then he's a thief. If a wizard steals things, he uses magic to steal things. He's a thief. So like and a cleric is just somebody who worships a god, and he dedicates himself to his god. So I got rid of all the character classes, and my friends couldn't handle that for a while. After a while, they got used to it. So if what you do is you train. So you want to be a wizard, you're going to train in intelligence. You want to be a scientist. If we're playing superheroes, you train in intelligence. And I always tell people, when in doubt, train in agility, because agility determines your initiative. It determines a lot, like accuracy and things like that. So it really is like the go-to stat for superheroes. Like if the higher the initiative, you get to go first, and that'll make the difference between life and death if the guy's really powerful. Like, I'm getting the hell out of here. So you leave before he even fights or something like that. You know what I mean? So whatever. The damage modifier is it's based on how smart you are, how focused you are, and how much agility you have. So you can see King Fu has a +5. So if King Fu and I need to explain basic hand to hand. That's how much damage you do when you don't have any weapons in your hand. So King Fu, if he was to punch you, he does 1d8 damage. Now to compare that, in Dungeons and Dragons, a longsword does 1d8 damage.
Right.
Okay, so getting punched by King Fu is the equivalent of getting hit with a warhammer or a longsword in Dungeons and Dragons. But you add 5 to it because he's super accurate and super quick, and he's pretty smart. So the intelligence adds a little bit of damage. He knows where to punch. He knows when to punch, like a little bit of micro timing and stuff like that. So the minimum damage he does with the punch is 6 damage, which is pretty damn good. But also he has the power of heightened attack, which gives him +1 damage per level. He's 9th level. So you add 9 to that. So the minimum damage King Fu does with the punch is 15 damage. And to put that in context, to punch through a steel wall is 11 damage. So boom, he can punch through a steel wall and then have a little bit extra to make the hole bigger. There's actual mathematical process, how much extra damage makes the hole bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could also hold back. If King Fu's punching grandma,
right, he's not going to punch through her skull.
Right, he could hold back. And I'm not going to get too complicated with the hold back rules, but it's intuitive. Now, the next stat on the healing rate 1.5. For every day that he rests, he gets back 1 hit point, and he has a 50% chance of getting a second hit point. So, just like those dragons, healing is slow, and magic is super rare in my game. So if King Fu gets beat up, it's a long time. It's a long time healing, so he doesn't want to get hit. So, he has heightened defense, so he has -4 to be hit just because he's got the Kung Fu. That's one of his powers. He can dodge and weave. And his carrying capacity, what did that say? 571. So he could bench press 571 pounds. His movement rate is 71. So he has 71 movement points, and each point spent is 5 feet. So he's pretty quick. He's pretty quick. He's really fast. The average human has 30 movement points. And the game was originally meant to be played on a graph where each square is 5 feet. So it's a movement point is 5 feet, and if you really want to know, you multiply that by 4.4, and that tells you how many miles per hour he could run. It's all math, and I don't tell all the players all the math because they get intimidated. I know all that math.
Right.
So what I mean, and power is the thing that really sent this game over the edge for Dungeons and Dragons. So power is how much stamina you have. So the average human being has about 40 stamina, 40 power. So when you get down to 0 power, you're fatigued, you're exhausted. You can walk, but you're like a zombie. And you actually
you're spent.
Yeah, you're spent. So, but the thing is, when somebody punches you, you could take the damage off of your power. So you could take 10% off. So he could take 8.5 rounded to 9. So if he gets hit, he could take 9 power points off of his power, but then his power is reduced. So whatever he could, so you would rather take it off power because power comes back per minute rather than per day. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But it simulates. Look at boxers. Boxers, they go 9 rounds punching each other. They're not bloody. They're not knocked dead because they're using their power to absorb. They're rolling. It's rolling with the punches. Fancy footwork, whatever you want to call it. So in this game, in order to die, you need to be at 0 hit points and 0 power. So it's designed not to be lethal, but of course I added lethal rules and critical hits and things like that. But so
you gotta have a little bit of element of danger in there.
If you play this character sheet is basic Village Vigilantes. I couldn't make a character sheet for my house rules because I talked to the owners of Village Vigilantes. And I told them what I was doing. And they gave me their blessing. So, you know what I mean? Like, if maybe someday I'll make character sheets the way I make character sheets for my actual game with the extra stats and stuff like that. But for this to be officially sanctioned by Village Vigilantes, I had to do the basic Village Vigilante character sheet.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I got guys that, believe it or not, didn't buy my comic book but bought sets of my cards just because they want extra V&V characters. There's still like guys around 50 years old that are into V&V. So this is King Fu's powers. You know everything about him. I'll go to the next card.
I'll be right back. I forgot something real quick.
What's the next card? Oh, the Go-Getter. Okay, so I'll show you who the Go-Getter is first before. Where is the Go-Getter? PDF is okay. Where's the Go-Getter? Okay, so that's the Go-Getter. So anybody in the chat, can anybody? I see it's 20 people. Somebody want to comment something just so I feel like you can see this. So this is the Go-Getter. She has a cameo in Heroic Tales 2. She's a member of the Meta League, so she'll be in issue 3 of the Patriarch. That's gonna be like the team story. That's gonna be Patriarch, goes to his team book. I can't make a Meta League comic yet. I'm pushing it with everything that I got. So that's the Go-Getter. So let's look at her character sheet. So I'll make this small so we can see it. So here is the Go-Getter. Her secret identity is Marla Rice. She's good. She's 23 years old. She's 5th level, so she's a little bit less, a little bit more than half the experience of King Fu, and she has 9 hit points. So you can see. So the Go-Getter is an Olympic athlete who is barred from competition when her powers emerged. She's a rookie member of the Meta League. Heightened speed, plus 610 movement points. There was also other stuff, but I didn't have enough room. It gave you +2 initiative and things like that. So heightened attack, plus level to all damage. Because of her speed, she could add damage, but she's 5th level, so she adds 5 damage to all of her attacks, whereas King Fu adds 9. Heightened defense, so she has a lot of similar powers as King Fu, -4 to be hit, and heightened expertise, +4 to hit with her hands. So she basically has the same powers as King Fu, except she's super quick. And her stats, she's 110. Her stats aren't as good. So none of her stats are superhuman. You can see her endurance is 17. Her strength is 14. Also, I must point out, in Villains and Vigilantes, and I think they're also Dungeons & Dragons, a 9 and a 10 is average. So a 9 is low average, average but low. 10 is average but high. So all of her stats are above average but nowhere near superhuman. So she's a normal human with super speed. Her damage modifier is +2. We're talking about the Go-Getter, my speedster. Her accuracy is +2. And let me see if let's scroll that up so I can read it. And her healing rate is 0.9. So she's not guaranteed to heal overnight. Even though she's healthier than most, her endurance is 17. That says hit that. Oh god, that bothers me. That's supposed to say hit points, not hit mods. Damn it. So she has,
always after, right? You always catch that afterwards.
No, it is hit mods because hit points is HP up here. That's hit mods, but it's supposed to be 0.9. And her healing rate anyway. So anyway, her carrying capacity is 243 pounds. and her hand-to-hand, so she could do 1d6 with the punch. But look at her ground movement is 657. So literally,
she's gone.
she's. I'm going to tell you in miles per hour how fast she can run. So, what 657? 657.
How concerned should we?
So she could only run at 149 miles per hour. So I like people being I like when characters, superheroes aren't super powerful, but a human being running at 150 miles an hour, but her main ability is her agility, because I didn't have enough room. So her initiative is 16, but because of the heightened speed, she has a plus 20. So her base initiative is 36. And the way Village Vigilante, you roll 1d10 and you add your agility. So the average human's agility is 10. So the average human being is going to have a 15 agility. For every 15, a 15 initiative. For every 15, you get to go again. So before she even rolls the dice, she gets to go 3 times. So she's pretty quick, but she's not the Flash. She's not even as fast as, like, say, the Wizard. You know what I mean? But I like that. I saw your note. Let me just do a few more cards. And then
Yeah. No. I'm just saying I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
That's all.
So who's next after the Go-Getter? Oh, I don't want to show the back of the card first. I want to show the front of the card. And some of them I'm skipping because I don't want to. Do spoilers. The Go-Getter. Okay, let's do Starlet. Fan favorite Starlet over here. So there you go. That Starlet. I just look at that. I basically told Renzo. Well, I drew a sketch of her, but I basically said she's Marilyn Monroe as a superhero. And look at that. That is just awesome.
That's great.
Yeah,
She does such good work.
Renzo just draws the sexiest women, and it's funny because people are like, oh, she's my favorite. Like she hasn't even made an appearance in the comic yet, and people are like, she's my favorite because everybody likes a sexy girl.
What has Renzo worked on besides your book, obviously?
He worked on Thomas Valiant for the Fourth Age, okay. and he did a couple of books for your boy Zach. He did Impossible Stars. He did what's the one with the black girl?
Blood Ruse?
No, though. Your boy Zach. I can't.
I didn't get anything he did.
His fatal flaw is his writing. His writing just sucks. And then he did Impossible Stars was good, but that was written by Chuck Dixon.
Right.
I can't think of the name of his story, but then he did before that. He worked for he did Coney Waves for Mark Polton, which is pretty good. It's a sexy Hawaiian detective who fights vampires. And then before that he did a lot of like those sexy grim fairy tales for Avatar Press. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Starlet. So wow. She's been a character in my game for 15 years, and her secret identity is Tina Sweeney. And I didn't realize that she's a buxom blonde, and now we got Sydney Sweeney. That's funny.
It's the Sweeney curse.
Yeah. So and I picked Tina because Ginger from Tina, she acts like Ginger from Gilligan's Island. And then Sweeney, I don't know why I picked Sweeney, but that's fun. She's 23 years old, the level is 6. She's got 7 hit points. So you can see King Fu's stats, his height and agility, everything. That he could take more punishment than everybody. So Tina Sweeney was a struggling actress while on an island. She found a golden statue. This Oscar gave her the powers of a star. Now, of course, there's more to the origin than I could fit on this card, but that's the thumb. So her first power, she could fly. And I can even tell you how fast she could fly because there's all formulas. So it's strength times endurance, and she can fly at 196 miles an hour. So she's not, like again, I don't like my superheroes being that powerful, but
Right.
she can boost her flight by spending extra power. So for 1 power point per hour, if she spends 2, she could double it. You know what I mean? So if she needs to go really fast, she can exert it. But I just don't have enough room on the car. Light powers, so light powers is 1. So she can create light flashes. She can just glow to create light in an area. And then she can also focus it as lasers. So she can fire laser beams. Flame powers, so she can burst into flames like the Human Torch. She can fire flames, and then the flame can actually uh, uh, propel her. So she can add the velocity to the flame power, because both can give the power to flight. She can adapt. Now, adapt is 1 power point per hour, all produces. So adapting is she just adapts to her environment. So she can use that to survive in space. She could survive in a black hole, but the more strenuous the environment, the more power it costs. I don't want to get into, but I have a bunch of rules of how adaptation works. But more importantly, like she can adapt to basically anything, any non-kinetic attack. So like energy, gas, she could survive underwater by just adapting. She could pull in oxygen, whatever. But adaptation is like the ultimate. Like I'm trying to think of that. There's a superhero, like most of the spaceborne superheroes have that power, and then cosmic awareness. So she's in tune with the universe. She could literally, but the problem with cosmic awareness is she kind of has to. You can't do that in the middle of a fight. If she does that in the middle of a fight, everybody's got to stand in front of her while she's basically distracted. So, 120 pounds. So I'm trying to think. Oh, her charisma. I guess I didn't have her, but her charisma is 48. So she had heightened charisma. So like she is as charismatic as say Spider-Man is agile or Reed Richards is intelligent. You know what I mean? So you can't help when she shows up. You don't want to look at her, but you are looking at her because like that's how charismatic she is. Her damage modifier is only +1. Her accuracy is only +2. She does 1d6. She can bench press 249 pounds. And her movement rate is 45. So she's like a little faster than a normal person. Her power is 50. So, you know what I mean? You could see her stats. If she didn't have any powers, she would be a formidable athlete.
Right.
But so that's Starlet. So you want to show the art?
Oh yeah, sure.
Are you going to share your camera or are you just going to hold it up?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look at that. That's complete.
Yep. Not with any color, mind you. It's just.
Oh, yeah. Oscar will color it.
Yeah.
So scan that and put that into the inks file in the comic, and then we'll talk privately later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, if that's not like I want to change this, change that, totally cool. That's just promo stuff and fun art. I was just going to town.
So this is Sergeant Stone. Strange Origins of Sergeant Stone was I think it was 2010. I went to Wisconsin. What town? But Gary Gygax's hometown is Gary Con, and they were all playing Dungeons and Dragons. But I had a forum for Village Vigilantes, and a bunch of guys that were on my forum that I'd never met. They were all going like, let's go. And I'm so mad because the year before, Bill Willingham went and actually ran a game of Villains Vigilantes and then drew everybody's characters. And I was like, oh, man. So there was rumors that Bill Willingham was going to go again. Bill Willingham was one of the early people on Villains Vigilantes. He still plays Villains Vigilantes. So, so that's how long I've liked Bill. That's how I knew Bill Willingham from Villains Vigilantes. Then later, I followed him into comics. So I'm a big
Villains and Vigilantes was part of a trio. We went on a kick. We took a break from D&D for a while. I
didn't know that. You actually played Villains and Vigilantes.
Yeah. Villains and Vigilantes, Champions, and then back then there was an old Marvel RPG.
Yep.
where if you remember those old stats, it was like uncanny class
Right.
1,000, 3,000, 5,000, beyond was the biggest one.
I'm gonna fill up my coffee cup, so you keep talking.
Awesome.
I can hear you.
Okay. I was going to say to anybody listening that's going to want to go down memory hole lane with me, let's go. Yeah, those 3 games were a great balance. There was things that made me learn a lot more about role-playing and role-playing games playing those 3 than D&D taught me. Especially like, say, like the way vigilantes, the way they do their stats. There's a lot of that I liked. Champions, I liked the way they, for role playing more than stats wise, but for role playing, I really enjoyed the weakness versus power ratio, where you can be like, I need a little bit more oomph in this power, so you give yourself a weakness, like you're allergic to peanut butter, just silly stuff like that, which was fun and brought more role playing into it. And with Marvel, it just lets you live out all your little fantasies. You want to get your character. I want to know how I go up against a Juggernaut. And if we all agreed, if a Marvel character, not ours, but the Marvel characters were underpowered in something, we raised the stats. And we did a lot. But it was a really good measuring stick for characters' power levels before all this discussion of who the hell can beat up who. The Marvel RPG had it all in black and white. It's like,
right,
yeah,
here's Spider-Man,
50 tons.
I played the Marvel role-playing game once, and the GM, I think he misinterpreted the rules, so it was just not fun.
But they can way over fanboy where they're selling the Marvel characters instead of letting you play yours. Those GMs exist.
I remember I played Division, and I was like, Division couldn't even fight like a normal person. I'm like, this is wrong.
Division, yeah, very, very wrong.
Yeah, this. And he's like, no, these are the rules. You can't argue with the Dungeon Master. You know what I mean? But I just never played again.
I want to tell you my very, very last experience playing D&D, and that's why I left these weirdos. Okay. Without going into anything because of what recent issues, I'd rather keep it more lighthearted. But what the GM did to me, which really was the last straw of playing D&D, I was already on my way out anyways. I was playing I forgot what they're an inventor class. I forget what they're specifically called. Well, one of their abilities at level 3 is to make a portable hole. Right? It's within our ability. It's in the character class. It's right there. I can make it. My dumbass wanted to, play old school like we used to. Oh, yeah, make a portable hole. It's totally within your class, but role play it. And I was like, I wanted to role play it. So I wanted to go buy like a bag and stuff like that to make it, So my DM looks up the cost to make a portable hole and wanted to charge me everything. I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need anything. I literally can do it, literally without your permission as the DM. My ability is I can just make that. He's like, no, you have to pay for it. I'm like, did you read the character? And that was just like, I think because I was butting heads with his other players because of things they said. And you know me. And so I think that was his way to try to push me out. It's like, oh, that was the dickish move I've ever seen. And it was quite pathetic. I mean, you didn't want me to play, at least be a mature enough person to say so.
The last time I played Dungeons & Dragons, legit Dungeons & Dragons, I don't know how, but this guy joined my forum and we found out that he lived the next town over.
Mm-hmm.
He invited us to his house. He was really nice. We showed up at his condo, and his wife made a meal for us. But he was so unbearable. Like so,
I hate it when that happens because you want to be nice to them and you want to meet a new friend,
And he didn't understand how unbearable. And over the course of and he had like 2 other friends that were with them, so they were just like, "Oh, you guys are so much better than the last." And like while walking to the cars, they'd be like, "Yeah, the last group fell apart," blah 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 blah. And it started to make sense that we were like the 4th group. You know, he had two childhood friends, and only they could deal with him, and he ruined it all. And they were basically like, without saying it, like, please don't like run away.
He's just
You know?
overbearing, or just
Oh, he was just overbearing. So we compromised it every other week. So 1 week we played Village Vigilantes, and I ran the game, and 1 week we played Dungeons Dragons, and he ran the game. I'm not joking that on the Fridays that I played Village, like guys were standing up, high fiving each other, yell, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah!" And then nights when we played Dungeons Dragons, we all just sat there like picking up dice and like rolling them and counting how many times you could roll a 4. It was excruciatingly dull. I'll never forget. My friend Mike and I were playing Rangers, and he was like, "Okay." So we spotted something coming. We were first level Rangers, so we were like the scouts up in the tower, in a snowy wooden fortress, fort out in the woods, out in the outskirts. So we had to go and ring the bell to alert everybody else. So he's like, "What path do you take?" And I'm like, "Does it matter?" He goes, "Everything matters." So I'm like, "Okay." I figured if we go this way, we're gonna fight this. If we go this way, it's safe. So I'm like, "All right." And he was big on maps. So I go this way. Okay. So he's like role playing like every step you take and everything. And we get nervous. And I'm not joking. It took 40 minutes to run like 100 feet, like, climb down the ladder, up the path, and then ring this bell. And it took 40 minutes of like saving throws against falling on ice and this and that. And we just rang the bell. So I'm like, "So what would happen if we went the other way?" "Oh, nothing. Just saving." I'm like, why did we role play this for 40 minutes? It really didn't matter. Like,
Right.
how did I fall down? Like, okay, if a monster was chasing you, fall, but like everything was so meticulous. And then
There's a time and a place for that,
right. And then what really crossed the line was we were fighting monsters, and this hot air balloon just comes out of the sky and lands in front of us, and the doors mystically open. And I just say to my, like, at this point, I'm furious. I'm like, obviously we're supposed to go in the hot air balloon, right? And I just turned to Mike, and I just go, "There's no way I'm getting on that air balloon." And he just looks at me. I go, "Why would my character just get on this air balloon?
Right.
I have no skills, so I'm trying to logic, but really, I just don't want to be railroaded." So here's what he did. A talking blue chihuahua materialized named Mr. Chew, and Mr. Chew breathed, and his breath forced us onto the balloon, and then we flew into another dimension. So I just said, "Why are we playing?" And,
Right.
and the funny thing is the other players went, "Oh, not Mr. Chew again." Like, that was Mr. Chew was the hand of fate that would show up and override our personal decisions. So that became a thing. Like, Mr. Chew.
You guys were just a witness to his story, and you get to play.
Right. Yeah, we were there to pat him on the back of how great his story was.
Or when you get that one player that has to be the center of the story, not even the center of the party, just has to be the center of the story too.
So we would play on Friday. So I'm giving up a Friday night to do this, and then I would go home, and I would write up the adventures on our forum.
Right.
So, but like, he wrote up the Dungeons Dragons adventures because he was the DM, and I wrote up the Village Vigilante. So I'm writing the Village Vigilante, and then all the players are commenting. Like, Mike is like, "Oh, that was so great when I did this," and then his two friends are like, "Oh yeah, my character, I can't believe I did this, and then I turned around and I fired a laser, and and then his comment was, "John, we should rebuild your whole world. We could make something awesome." And that was just the last straw. I was just like, do you see, like, 5 people are talking about how much fun they have? But I said, "No, thank you. My world is awesome. We'll continue." He goes, "I'm just trying to help you." Like, how condescending. So I just said, "You know what? You don't have to play if you don't like it."
Well, the whole idea is to play in somebody else's sandbox.
Right. But he needs to control it. So I said, "You know what? We're done here." Me and Michael continue this, and the other 2 guys were like, "No, we want to play." I was like, you can play with him. You can go buy Village Vigilante. But like, I said, the only way we will continue is if we only play Village Vigilantes. and they were like, they didn't want to turn against it. But here's the funny thing is, while chit chatting before playing, we're eating. His wife was really nice, and we're eating before playing, and he got hit by a car. Okay, so he was a pedestrian, got hit by a car, and the police came, and he argued with the police so bad that the police wrote him up a ticket for disorderly conduct, put it on his chest while he was being, in the stretcher into the ambulance. And the cop was like, "Here's your ticket." He's like, "Can you believe that?" And I said, "Yeah, knowing you, I can believe that."
That's pretty bad.
Yeah,
That's modern TikTok user right there.
He was so freaking annoying.
Did you ever get a chance to play COC, Call of Cthulhu?
I never played it. And funny you should mention that. Sandy Peterson's going to be on my channel tomorrow. The guy who created Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What am I talking about? I played that. This guy Keith was the game master. What am I talking about? I completely. I guess that's proof of Call of Cthulhu, because in Call of Cthulhu, it's great because you start out the best you're ever going to be, and every time you play, you get worse until you die or become insane. It's the opposite of every other role playing. So I guess I went insane and forgot that I actually played.
The reason why I brought up Call of Cthulhu is I think that's a perfect test for new groups that you're with, right? Bring in COC, the murder rate's high, right? It's a good chance most of the party, if not the whole thing, are not going to survive tonight. That shows you the ability of a player how to deal with off situations. I think it's also a good thing of a game that's allows you to cut and run, right? Something's not working out with your players, or you get a bad vibe with them, or whatever. It's a game. It's just like, all right, we're all dead. All right, we gotta play next week. No. I got a new campaign going over here. I can't make it. Sorry, guys. Zoom. It's a really good game because most sessions, like when we played with one character, we'd only do at max 3 sessions with one character because of that situation.
Right, you die. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna eventually. It's gonna die, or it's become a cripple or insane. And by the time the 3rd session, they're like, no mas. They're tapping. They're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's how the 3rd act for any Call of Cthulhu character should be. Like, I'm out. No, I'm not going to survive any longer if I go down this. Because eventually they're just going to be looking at me all the time. So that's what I love about Lovecraft mythology. It does ring true to, as you stare into the abyss stares back at you. As the more you learn about the mythos, the more the mythos is aware of your knowledge. That's kind of scary. I think that goes with about everything right now.
So this game, this character, Sergeant Stone. So like I was saying, I went to Gary Con, and why can't I think of it? Genesee, I forget what. Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. That's where Gary Gygax. So they have a Gary Gygax Con. So I went out there because all these guys who were posting on my forum for years, and Dom Sumner, one of the guys on my forum, he was going to run a Villains Vigilantes game. Now he said everybody make up a character and I approve it. So he trusted us. So I legit rolled up because I'm like, I can't use my house rules and stuff. So by the rules, I rolled up Sergeant Stone over here, and I love this character. So I brought this character with me, and I must have been the only person who didn't cheat because everybody rolled their characters up at home. You registered for the game, and then you brought your character to it.
18s across the board.
Oh, everybody, everybody's characters was overpowered and fast. And then other people like, oh, what are you doing? Like, and a lot of people like drew their characters. A lot of D&D people, a lot of role playing people are I drew my character too, but it looks like the way I drew it. So it looked cool, and he had like a map set up and everything because he prepared. This, like, we had 3 months, and he wanted to. So other people like, oh wow, it was all role playing. So we ended up with 15 people, and he had pre-made character sheets. It was excruciating. So 15 people roll an initiative. My character's big and heavy and slow. So he one action a turn Well, everybody else got like 3 or 4 actions a turn,
Right.
and there was 15 people, and everybody talking, and everybody wants the spotlight. Everybody wants to be the cool. I went once every 45 minutes, and I'd roll the dice. Oh, you missed. Okay, because I have house rules like karma, where you could give yourself a bonus out of penalty and stuff like that. So, but we were playing by the book, Village Vigilant, and it was just, why am I even here? Why am I even here? But this is the character I made up, and I love the character. So I'm going to show his stats on the back.
For sure.
So that's Sergeant Stone. And where is Sergeant Stone?
As the stats come up, John, as a DM, what do you think is the sweet spot number of min-max players in a group?
The number of players, 3 or 4. 3 or 4, like one DM, and like what I play a lot of one-on-one. My friend Jimmy and I play, and 2 is fine, but 3, you get a good balance of powers and personalities. Like I think the most I ever played was 8.
Yeah, anything I think beyond 6 is too much.
It's too
Even
much.
6 is pushing it.
But I will do it if everybody's experienced.
Yeah,
and everybody understands. One thing I can't stand is when people are. I'm addicted to my phone. I wake up, I have my phone in my hand. I have my phone in my hand all day long. You've messaged me, I message you back instantly, to the point it's got me in trouble at work because But when it comes to role playing and board games, put your phones away. It drives me nuts. You know what I mean? Unless you have your calculator function right there. But So
now every day, everybody just puts their character on a iPad, and it's just like, just bring pen and paper, please.
That drives me nuts too. When they show up with their character sheets on an iPad and everything. Oh,
I got a printer. Go hit print, put the thing away.
Piece of paper, and I call them battle sheets. I print out. This is what you need to keep track of, because every round you got to keep track of your hit points, your power, your movement points, and then when we roll initiative, you reset. It sounds more complicated. We got 25 people watching. If anybody's interested, you could go to role playing game, and I have an entire session of me and my friends playing Village Vigilantes, from character creation to at the end giving out experience points. And I think it's 4 2-hour videos or something like that. We're gonna do it again one of these days. That's Dark Alchemy Limited. Those guys, they live within 5 minutes away. So this is Sergeant Stone, and his identity is Frank Stone. Now, as a comic book guy, do you know why I named him Frank Stone?
Am I thinking of a certain DC guy with name Sergeant?
Yes, Sergeant Rock, Frank Rock. So he's Frank Stone. He's 104 years old. Level 7, 47 hit points. So he organic stone armor. So he's like the Thing. He has stone armor, and he has why didn't so I guess it got cut off and I didn't notice, but it's supposed to have a number of like bonus hit points that
okay.
But he has also heightened expertise with military weapons, heightened strength of 16. So he has willpower. So he has total bodily control. It's one of my favorite powers. Willpower is you can control all the automatic functions of your body. So through your mind, you could cause your heart to stop beating. From your mind, if you want to be sexual, you could give yourself an orgasm or an erection. You know what I mean? Like, you could, anything that you can't control, he has total control of it. Also, he could, if he's being mind controlled, he could literally force people out. Like, he could just shut off his mind. Like, one of my favorite willpower tricks is a guy was using infravision to scan. So the player character said, okay, I use my willpower to make my body temperature room temperature. So the guy was blind to normal light, but he could only see and the guy was standing right in front of him, but he couldn't see him. Kind of like, Sylvester Stallone with the Predator. I was like, that was so clever. I love stuff like that. I had a character who was poisoned, and he used the willpower to raise his body temperature to burn out the poison, and then stop his breathing and his heart to pretend to be dead. And then when the guy came over to check, he
right.
So that's the kind of stuff you can do with willpower. and he has adaptation. So this guy, willpower makes you like really difficult to like normal attacks. Like if you get stabbed, you can stop your bleeding, so you're not going to bleed to death. If you should be knocked unconscious, you can through will keep getting up like the spirit's always getting up and fighting. And then adaptation makes you almost immune to like chemicals and electrical. So this between his armor, his willpower, and his adaptation, this guy's just the ultimate tank. I love this guy, but you can see his agility is 15, so he gets one action a turn, and he's slow. So playing this guy with 15 other characters, and then everybody munching it out. But I just love this character. So he talks like in World War II. You scared? I'm scared too. You'd be crazy not to be scared, kid. But it's what we do with our fear that makes us mad. Like he talks in all stereotypes and everything. And his origin was Sergeant Stone was shot in Germany during World War II. He fell into the Rhine and he was cared for by the Rhine maidens. And he emerged in 2015. So he just came out of the water in 2015 as Sergeant Stone. That's his origin. Now keep him. I almost spoiled it, but I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it too much.
Yeah, that's Sergeant Stone. So, what other characters have? Let's see. PDF means the back of the card. PNGs means this character I love. I love this character. In the comic yesterday when I was doing comics, I showed he has an appearance in the Marshall Strong comic. He looks slightly different, but I don't know. I think Mike. He was using English longsword stuff, but the spot he should use in Greek weapons. So he has a Hoplon shield and a spear, a Greek spear. So he's like the Green Lantern, but his weakness is he has instead of green, he has bronze.
John, did you move your mic?
Why? Does it sound weird?
There you go, right there, right where whatever you did, it's perfect right now.
Okay.
They're perfect. Yeah, it was really muffled for a little while. I was like, "What is he saying?"
So the Spartan, it's like the Green Lantern. He could create energy constructs, but instead of being green, they're bronze, and he's limited. He can only create things that existed at the time of classical Spartan Greece. So he can't make tanks, weapons. So he can make simple shapes, spheres, rectangles, levers and things like that. But he couldn't make spaceships, laser guns, stuff like that. So he mostly uses it to make armor, shields, weapons, like a pole vault and things like that. So I just love this character. This is my friend Mike's actual character, the Spartan. And let's see his stats. There's the Spartan. Okay, so let's make this so we can see it. So he was a Marine. Jefferson Stevens was thought to be dead while he was thought to be killed, and while he was under, he met the Ephors, the priests of the Oracle, who bestowed upon him the power of the greatest soldiers ever to exist. So he's got the spirit. He thinks he's possessed by all 300 of the warriors at Thermopylae, in Leonidas and everything. 11th level, 75 hit points. So he has heightened strength, heightened agility, heightened defense, and regeneration. So like Wolverine, he makes the energy constructs, Bronze Age only, and he has cosmic awareness. So he could literally put himself into a trance and see the Ephors who give him guidance. But of course, if he does that in fight, he'll make himself vulnerable to attack. But you can see so far he's the strongest. He's got 24 strength, 20. Wow, I just realized. Oh, okay. So all of his physical stats are superhuman. Strength, endurance, and agility are all above 20. His intelligence is 12. So he's the dumbest, but 12 is still 120 IQ at third charismatic. What's his carrying capacity? 1,463 pounds, and with a punch, unmodified punch, he could punch through a concrete wall. So I love this character. He's so dramatic that he can make these constructs and shields, stuff like that. And then if he gets damaged, you pull the spear out and regenerate. You know, such a cool character. Yeah. Let's see, who else should I show? PDF is the back of the card, so I'll show the front of the card. And again, I'm skipping over some cards because I don't want there to be spoilers. I can show him because he just has a cameo. I have a big story for him planned in the future, but this is the Peacekeeper. So he is basically a Superman type, but he gave his allegiance to the UN, much to the dismay of the American government. He's an American, and he's kind of inspired, but like when Superman renounced his citizenship and became a global citizen. So I was like, oh, all right. So I made up an NPC, the Peacekeeper, and he's got the UN symbol on him, the colors of the UN, but he's not a bad guy. He's just, I would say, like a useful idiot.
Right.
So it's funny because when I showed this card, a lot of people got mad at me, like, "Oh, you're making woke comics." You don't know what I'm doing with this character.
Yeah, you know he's the villain. They just assume.
You don't know what I'm doing with you know what I mean?
Right.
Have you met me? I don't like the UN.
I don't know why anybody would right now.
Right. I don't like the UN, but let's take a look at his stats. He's one of the more powerful guys. Where's his stats? Peacekeeper. Okay. So he's the Peacekeeper. His real name is John Marcini. He's level 13. Look at his hit points. 440 hit points. This King Fu had 34. So this is the kind of, if you fight him, the whole team has to come and fight him. Flight, heightened strength, endurance, charisma, invincibility, 30 points. So armor,
one shot everybody.
With a punch, his basic hand to hand is 4 die 10 damage. So
I read it as 400.
Yeah,
like
4 d10.
Auto death.
So he rolls 4 die 10, so he could do up to 40 damage with a punch. So
which will still kill a lot of the characters.
Yeah, well, the average human has 6 hit points. You know what I mean? And King Fu had 34 hit points. But the thing that makes him super dangerous is his flight. So he can fly. He doesn't have the laser vision and stuff like that. But invincibility. So there's armor, which gets used up and it needs to heal. Like the Thing or Colossus or my character Sergeant Stone, say they have 100 points of armor. So that armor comes off,
right,
like temporary extra hit points, and then it'll come off your hit points, stuff like that. Then there's invulnerability, and invulnerability is you just ignore a certain amount of damage. So if you have an invulnerability of 30 for the round, and a round is when you roll initiative to the next time you roll initiative. Everything that happens in between is one round, and you can ignore 30 points. Now invincibility is per attack. So like in a round, like you could be attacked 10 times and you'll take your invulnerability, and each attack will reduce, and then the invulnerability is taken, and then the rest of the attacks your invulnerability is used. You block the first 30 points of damage that come to you, if you have invulnerability 30 points, but invincibility is every attack. So right. If I get attacked, so it's almost impossible to hurt him.
So you have to do like 45 points of damage. You're only doing 15.
Correct. But in vulnerability, if you do 45 points of damage, you do 15 damage. But then the next guy does full damage because the invulnerability is used up. So invulnerability is tough, but invincibility is squared. It's more powerful. So he is a badass, And then, like, I don't have enough room to write everything on these cards, but like if you fly, and he's invincible, so he could literally like pick you up and just super accelerate through walls because he ain't gonna be taking any damage, things like that. So he is tough. But his origin, John Marcini was the first pick for Project Red Cape. He later revoked his U.S. citizenship, pledged loyalty to the United Nations. So Project Red Cape I didn't talk about it yet, but Project Red Cape is a government program to create superheroes. And my Marshall Strong, that character that was my friend had that comic book, he was the psychologist who psychologically profiled everybody to because unbeknownst to the general population, they first gave superpowers to people with, and they shouldn't have got powers. They became a bunch of villains. Then they realized, oh crap, we got to do better psychological. So Marshall Strong created a profile, and then he fit the profile that he himself created. So he would. But John Marcini was such a good guy. He was the first one picked, and you could say that he's so altruistic that he naively believes that yeah, the UN is good and it's going to help the whole world. So he's not just helping the Earth, but he's, like I said, he's naive. He's misguided. If you ask me, his intelligence is 12, the second lowest of all the characters. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I'm not woke by any means.
And that's the thing that it really sucks, or one of the many, 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 I should say, things that suck with modern terminology. The fact that even when you have a very basic storyline, people will claim that's progressive. I'm like, well, technically, yeah, but it's not like progressive. It's like it's just common sense, or it's just common behavior. It's like, yeah, it's progressive. It's also Christian. It's also basic human understanding of how you treat each other, and the same thing with woke. Like if I have a gay character, right, I'm not writing it because I need to celebrate his gayness and throw it out to the world and use my, what they call it, platform to preach. No, just happens to be that character just happens to be gay, and it might happen to do with a storyline somewhere for a specific reason. But I mean, it's like people exist. It's okay to write them in and out of things. It's when you use them to preach to people or to insult people with, that's when crap's woke.
It's funny, if I ever introduce my gay superhero team, will people go nuts? But I have a gay superhero team from San Francisco called the Companions.
See, that's funny. The Bandits.
No, the Companions.
Oh, the Companions. I love Bandits.
The Companions.
The term booty bandit. I thought it was hilarious.
Because whatchamacallit, in Thebes, they had the sacred band, and they called themselves the Companions. And it was supposed to be a man and his lover were companions.
Yeah, thieves.
And then they literally fought back to back because the theory was nobody's going to protect you like your lover. So the sacred band was the name of the army, and then they fought in bands of companions. So that's the historical. But the thing is, the leader of the team is named Manpower, and people are like, that's too insulting. And Manpower was like a leather guy, like a leather Hercules.
Right.
Even though
you tell me there has to be a guy in there called the Bear, please.
There is now.
There has to be.
There is now.
The Bear has to be.
And his sidekick, the Otter.
That's the thing, is most gay people I know would find that funny,
right?
Like in the old Police Academy films, whenever they enter the Blue Oyster Cult, my gay friends laughed their ass off every time. So did I. It's okay to laugh at each other, man, especially when shit's funny.
I'm trying to remember the other members of that team. The sacred band of Femfire. It was a lesbian girl with flame powers. Oh, man, I can't remember, but I just remember Manpower.
That's hilarious.
I think that's a great name for a superhero.
You gotta have a bear in leather harness.
Well, there is now. But when I introduced Manpower, like one of my friends goes, "That's so gay." So I was like, "Well, he's gay. He's superhero." So like I had no intentions when I made him up, but they made fun of my name. So
you're like, "You did it now, buddy."
Yeah, this is Captain Atlas. He's got a cameo in Heroic Tales 2, but he has his first appearance in Patriarch #1. He's part of the Patriarch's origin, and he's the oldest
I was gonna say, does he have a Picard?
Yeah, he's got the male pattern baldness.
So I was trying to figure because with where how we can perceive it with the distance and so forth, the screen. I couldn't tell what was right here, so I was like, I think he has the Picard hair.
Yeah, he. Oh,
Okay, yeah, I could see it better then.
yeah, he has the male pattern baldness. He got his powers during the Korean War, so and he was like 35 when he got his powers. So old for a superhero. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I want to show his stats. I just had to make sure because there's secrets about him that I don't want people to know just as of yet. Sergeant Stone, Captain Atlas, Captain Atlas. I just had it. Why am I not seeing it? Captain Atlas. So here is his stats, and you can see just how powerful this guy is. So let's reduce that so where we could see it. So his name is literally Captain. Is Captain Atlas, Captain Charles Nelson. No, it's not Nelson. It's not Charles Nelson. Captain Michael Nelson. Charles Nelson is the actor, Charles Nelson Riley. That's why I said it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Captain Michael Nelson, and his age is 116 right now because he's been active since the Korean War, and it's these are all in 2025. So his hit points 1,464 hit points. So height and strength 90, height and endurance 70, flight invincibility 45. He has a body power, the intrinsic field generation. So what he could do is if he touches an airplane, basically a field goes around that airplane, so he could lift the airplane by the wing. You know what I mean? It's me explaining Superboy's tactile telekinesis.
Right.
It's how like Gladiator could lift an entire building, or Superman could, lift a building and fly the building into space. You know what I mean? So that was my workaround.
I think I think you and I talked about this too. I think it was either PC7. Yeah, PC7. I think that was what it was called. Or I'm trying to remember the other one from the new universe where they formed.
DP7.
Yeah, DP7.
I-Force where they formed Cyhawk.
Yeah, that's how they described it when he was fighting somebody. I try to remember. He grabbed the Washington Monument. They talked about him forming a force field around him and the monument becoming one thing, and then you smack something like a baseball bat.
So if he was to grab the airplane and then he uses the airplane as a baseball bat, nothing's going to happen to the airplane because that energy is dispersed among him and the airplane, and he's infinitely tougher than an airplane. So he is my Superman. He's by far my most powerful superhero. So I mean, look at his carrying capacity, 118 tons, I think that says, which is a lot for my game.
That would actually be a great concept too, John. Thinking about it, being a superhero that's super strong, the typical, Superman as stereotype. But the fact, I don't know if you're doing this for this character, but if he can touch a plane, hit something with it, keep the plane intact, he could also save somebody in personal contact with them.
Yeah. So if he was to grab
you, touch him and carry his invulnerability to help protect him.
Right. He could grab you, and ain't nothing gonna happen to you. So he could grab you and then fly. Like he could fly so fast, like you would burn.
Fly off,
So literally, he could grab your head. So I mean, he has done this like everybody in the airplane, and then fly through space, and everybody's protected. The atmosphere is contained, things like that. So he could do super feats. Notice I didn't put his weakness in because his weakness is a secret. So as powerful as he is, he has.
That'd be very interesting to write a character, a Superman-esque character with that specific skill set. I think that'd be very fun to play.
Well, this was me trying to fit Superman into the villain vigilante because Superman's too powerful for villains vigilante.
Oh yeah, he's too powerful for DC. I mean,
right. So this was my attempt. Superman could still take him out. Superman's infinitely more powerful. And I noticed that there's a misprint. It shouldn't be 2 die 8 damage. It should be 10 die 10 damage with the punch. too late to change it. So that's Captain Atlas.
Why is that already set for print?
I already. Oh, you know what? I can still change it because I didn't print Captain Atlas. He didn't get printed, so I can still change it.
So yeah, change that.
Yeah. I made seven. I made 7 cards. So I have Philip Manning. So these cards are here. The Mushroom Minions.
So are those going to be? Those aren't going to be player card size. Those are going to be larger cards.
3x5. 3x5.
Okay, so they're going to have some size to them.
Yeah. So the Overshadow, and I'm not showing the Overshadow because, King Fu, Mary Sue. So as of right now, everybody, for free, everybody's getting Mary Sue, King Fu, and the Subterranean, and the other 7, the others or the outsiders, whatever you want to call them, and the Subterranean. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are This is the 7 cards,
Nice.
3 of which everybody gets free, and if you want, it's $2 a card after that. And then if you want a full set, it'll be $10. And then I got I still Boss Moxie from the last campaign. This box is like all my merchandise right over here. The coins.
So how close is 2?
I got Daniel promised you'd have the last 2 pages done today, and midnight has passed and I didn't get the last 2 pages. So, even if he submitted it today, Oscar wouldn't be able to start coloring them until Monday anyway. So he needs to get them to me today. Today being Monday, So yeah. So I got 2 more pages to color. Lettering is Bill can be done with lettering in 2 pages in a couple of hours, and then I do my final check, send it to an editor, and if she, I just want her to find the typos. Does the story make sense? Is there a better way to say stuff like that? And then it's just Bill will put he'll format it. So he's going to format it twice because one is going to be a PDF, so people who just get the file, and then the other one, Mary Sue story, has to be upside down, so it'll match the cover. You know what I mean? So we kind of have to do 2 formats. One for reading and then one for printing. That takes a couple of days, and then I send the files to the printer, and then they could say okay, we're going to print it tomorrow. We're slow, or a month. We're busy. You know what I mean? I won't know until I send them.
So roughly
about a month.
With great blessing, a month. With normal expectations, expect 2.
Yeah, but the thing was, I said the end of September, but that was before Daniel went missing for 3 months. Yeah,
that happens.
So that's that. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? At least I console myself with saying it's not 5 years.
Yeah, that's for sure. Oh my God, John, you were 5 days late as opposed to 5 years.
It's funny because I didn't put a delivery date on the campaign, and I didn't do that on purpose. I just forgot. So people who don't watch my channel probably won't even know it's a month late,
Right.
So this is Shield Maiden. She's going to be my Wonder Woman. I love this character. And Renzo, man, look at that. It's funny, Dave Brink saw that, and he's just like, John, I always get jealous of Dave Brink's characters. This is the first time Dave Brink got jealous of my characters. Unfortunately, she has just a cameo, and I didn't realize. It's funny because all my female characters, people are like, I want to see more of her. I want to see more of her. So she's in the Meta League, so I gotta put her front and center in issue 3 of Patriarch. Will be the debut of the Meta League, the superhero team. Yes. But I love that character. So she is the Shield Maiden, and we'll see her stats. I could show off all of these cards. So I got cards made up for the next 3 issues of Heroic Tales. I got carried away making cards. But her real name is Vigrid Moen. age 31, level 7, 26 hit points. Big difference between the 1400 whatever from Captain Atlas. Vigrid found the golden spear tip of her ancestors, the famed shield maidens of Wotan, and it transformed her into the shield maiden. So and a lot of archaeologists in my world finding artifacts. There's a reason for that. Transformation activates her powers and her items. So she's a normal woman, and then she transforms into the shield maiden, kind of like Billy Batson. That is a big deal in the Heroic Tales universe because there's certain technologies that can detect superpowers. A couple of genius level supervillains have figured out how superpowers work, where they come from, and they could trace the energies needed. Like I already said this, like all superpowers, there's like a wormhole, there's like a portal in your brain, and you're literally sucking out power from another dimension. So
like a cosmic thread.
Yeah, so there's it's a ruby thread that goes off into this other dimensional source of power. You can't fly. You're not invincible. Nobody is. But you're channeling this power, and then your brain, it's interpreted by your brain, and basically your brain interprets this power to suit your personality. So if you're
do you mind if I make a hypothetical? Because
sure.
Hopefully it's not a spoiler.
Go ahead.
Are those all like threads of fate?
No.
And like there be, the power people that are getting those powers, the threads are tapping. So there's actually something bestowing it intentionally,
Well, there's
like threads.
There's a realm of pure imagination. So it's like where dreams come from, where powers come from. I at one point I called it the dreaming, and then the Sandman got, I was like, I can't call it that anymore. So I called it the imagination, but it's literally another dimension, and that has its own problems and whatever. So they pull these, and I literally have a map of where these wormholes travel from, and there's extra dimensional beings that sometimes intercept these threads, so sometimes like, what happened to my powers? You know what I mean? And then like other more experienced were like, oh, there's like an imp clogging your
right,
things like that. So there's alien races that like you show up and they're like, you're all powerful, and they just like can just turn off your power. You know what I mean?
Turn off the flow.
Right.
Shut off the water at the
it's
source.
Like, humanity just started learning about this. You don't know all the tricks and trades, do you? Congratulations, you all have no powers. We are now because like these races they work with technology, and there's no way to shut off technology for the most part. You know what I mean? So like they have the advantage.
It's kind of like in 40K where all psychers have the attachment to the warp at least some level, and then you cut off that attachment to the warp, they have no longer any psychic powers. Even as dangerous and potentially lethal as the warp can be, that's what is actually granting them the psychic powers, is because they can touch it.
Right. So Shield Maiden's ability to transform. So when she's in human form, she can't be traced. She literally has no link. You know what I mean? So it's like also this focus, and her brain like will wake up and call this, wormhole to open. So like these villains that are hunting down superheroes or whatever like that, she could hide. She could live a normal life if she never activates her powers again. So she literally is like two beings, her normal human self and then her superhuman self. So when she activates, it sounds like a waste of a power, but it's actually a pretty helpful power. So she has heightened strength, she has armor, shield, and her shield, she could create force fields like the Invisible Woman with that shield. So she can hold up and make shields. She can't make like all of the Green Lantern shapes like Sue Storm, but she could literally make, like, she holds it up, but like she could protect like a whole wall, So
right, she can like forcefully expand it, maybe not physically, but the energy.
The shield itself doesn't change size, but the energy force field projected from it does. and then she has this a spear that she could fire lightning bolts with, and then she could teleport, so she could literally throw. She'll like whatever, and like a rainbow will appear, and they travel, and it's literally warping space. So it's not like it dissolves your body. So we don't have to deal with, like in my world, if your atoms get disintegrated, your body dies. It gets reformed. So she literally, warps space with the Rainbow Bridge. And then so it like a Rainbow Bridge, you'll take a couple of steps and then disappear, to other people. But you just literally walking on a Rainbow Bridge, and everything's out of focus, and then you're there, kind of thing.
That was the one thing I always bothered me about OG Star Trek was the teleportation.
Yeah, the transporter
reintegration. I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to be die and literally be cloned.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. I'll take the shuttle. Thanks.
Right. Yeah. Bones is right. Bones is right. And then another thing is, like, there's too many philosophical and technological problems created by the transporter. Like why does Picard need? I was talking about this last night during comics. You were on for a little while, and then we would talk about this later on, or before I forget. But like, Picard has a bad heart, right? He needs a pacemaker. So why don't they take the pattern of Riker, who has a healthy heart, get that, go through the code, find out the code of just his heart, and beam Riker's heart into Picard? Problem solved.
It's even easier than that. Second they found out Picard had a heart problem, he teleports down, reintegrates with the pattern that he had before he had the heart.
Right. That's another thing. Why don't everybody get scanned at the academy when they're 25 years old?
Yep.
And just rebuild that pattern.
Just reconstitute yourself at the same age constantly.
But the thing is, do you lose all those memories? You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's a problem. You don't, because it's an exact replica. The only way I could see that it replaces the neurons at the exact moment of firing. So they're in place where they should be, where you were chronologically when you got disintegrated. The reintegration is right when it's done. No time is lost between those two steps, even though it's been 5 seconds to beam up.
Now,
but it's still a death.
I can't help but think, because I'm coming up with the. It's funny because I'm coming up with right now. The tentative title is Dark Space, and Dark Space is a setting. And Tonic Bolt's going to make a story, and then I'm going to make a story, and he's talking to other people about making stories in the Dark Space setting. So I'm thinking about it's supposed to be horror. It's a horror setting, and I was thinking, if I had a transporter in the Dark Space setting, and I was a creep, nobody's looking, or what? I sell these patterns, like I'm Chief O'Brien, you know what I mean? And then I sell the patterns of everybody in the Enterprise to what's the name of that guy? Mudd, Harry Mudd. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I sell the patterns to, and now Harry Mudd could just make replicants of Crusher, Troy, and all the women on the Enterprise, and nobody knows they exist. You know what I mean? Like, could that be stopped? Like, do I need Kirk to step on that thing? But they even said that, we have his pattern saved, so can we just make simulacrums of anybody who's been transported?
And this is why when people go like, no, you're wrong, that's not how transporters work, I'm like, okay, then explain to me how they did the exact same thing to get Picard out of the Borg suit.
Right. So
7 and 9, it took like a while. With Picard, it was just like they just got him a new body.
Right.
Same thing with the stupid Picard TV show. He literally died in that show, and they just put him in a new body.
Now he's got an android body. I didn't see that show.
I didn't watch it, but I do want to watch season 3 of that, because I heard season 3 is actually excellent, because what's his name? Kurtzman had nothing to do with it. He was like out, and he knew he was out, so he just left it to some cronies, and the cronies were actually Star Trek fans. It made an excellent season 3.
Oh, good.
That's what I've heard from every Star Trek fan.
I mean, what to me, Star Trek ended when the TV show Enterprise ended. That was the end of Star Trek, and I haven't watched. I haven't watched Enterprise yet either, but I'm willing to extend that that's real Star Trek. You know,
Me too. Voyager, I liked a lot of Voyager. I wasn't the biggest fan of Voyager. I was a huge fan of DS9. I liked it a lot.
it's funny. I watched the first season of DS9. It was excruciating.
Yes, absolutely.
And I gave up like a third through the second season. And everybody says just picks up on the third season, but everybody says the Next Generation picks up the third. The first 4 episodes of the Next Generation were so awful. I can't believe the show continued.
Like made for TV.
But it was.
Drama.
But I ended up. I liked the first season of the Next Generation. But Deep Space Nine, the pilot episode of Deep Space Nine, is the worst anything I've ever seen on TV. It is so bad. And the problem with Deep Space Nine is so far none of the characters are likable. None of the characters.
They do grow on you, especially in my opinion, Deep Space Nine's best attribute was, again, like everything DS9, the best part of it was stolen from Babylon 5. But the best attribute of DS9 was the side characters. You know, the Cardassian, God, what were the Erie people called again?
But I will get back to it. I'll get back to it and finish it. And then after I haven't watched one episode of Voyager, and I haven't watched one episode. Well, I take it back. I watched one episode of Enterprise, and it was when the Korean, like they went to the mirror universe.
Did you ever see the Lovecraft tattoo? I don't think you ever did.
Oh, cool! I didn't know. I saw you tattoos, but I didn't know it was Lovecraft.
I got HP over there writing in his book, and got giant Shoggoth coming all the way down my arm.
Oh wow! And then you drew a Shoggoth to my story, so there you go.
Yeah.
But I agree. Gene Roddenberry said that he had problems with the transporter, but he knew it would save money that rather than building models and having to do landing on.
Yeah, I just they wouldn't use it and abuse it the way they did, but it's. I will say this, and I don't want to do the whole back in my day thing or shake my finger yelling at clouds. I do that enough. But it's true. Modern writing is lazy, so they just take the easiest way to do things. It just causes problem for the stories chronologically.
But
have you seen Willow?
The transporter has too many philosophical, ethical, and technological problems. You know what I mean? It's a get out of jail free card. Like it made another Riker. It made another Kirk. And then the holodeck created a super intelligent individual life form, Moriarty. And it's just like if I was the captain. So John Longbox is now the captain of an Enterprise. You're my science officer, stuff like that. Okay, right after that ceremony, I get the powers conferred to me. Remember, Picard had to do this. First order: disable that freaking holodeck. It's nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
Any episode where they're going into the holodeck, it just ruined everything.
Yes, I agree. The holodeck.
Yeah,
there were some good ones. There was some good ones, but the vast majority of holodeck episodes are.
Yeah, it's like get rid of that freaking holodeck. No, you're not going to the holodeck and banging. Do you know that there's a poor janitor who does nothing but clean up after Riker? I
was going to say, they would clean up after the whole crew. I'm sorry. If you got a holodeck, every time you walk in, you're slipping on something. No. It would be the worst place to even walk in.
And since we're talking Star Trek, my biggest Star Trek pet peeve is Kirk has a very unearned reputation as a cad. We'll be polite. We'll say a cad. But Kirk, in the very second episode, it's called Splinter in the Mind or Splinter. It's the episode, and he beams down to the planet, and that doctor there is doing that machine that tortures you. But Dr. Noel beams aboard, and she's the sexiest woman in all of Star Trek. No arguments. But look up Dr. Noel. She's in the second episode. I'll get a picture of her while I'm talking. But their backstory is Kirk and her did the lovey-dovey's.
Right.
And Kirk dumped her because he realized that she was his subordinate and it was wrong, and she accepted that, even though she had feelings for him. And that's the back, that's the B story of that episode. And that whole point is, it shows you that Kirk took it seriously. Like he can't have why can't I spell Trek? He can't have relationships with women that he's that he has authority over, and he had a lapse of judgment. And fortunately, it was this woman, and she accepted as much
She's a
as
beautiful woman, but she looks like the security officer in the Orville.
Oh, I gotta watch the Orville.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's the best Star Trek. That's
what everybody said. But this woman is, to me, the hottest woman in all of Star Trek.
She's absolutely gorgeous.
The second hottest woman in all of Star Trek is the episode where they go down to the.
I mean, look at that jawbone and just the cheeks. Just
where they go down to the planet and they see the Alice in Wonderland. The big rabbit comes out. It turned out to be like the name of the episode, Shore Leave. They go down the planet. Whatever they think about comes true. And the woman with Dr. McCoy gets her dress ripped, so she changes into that redheaded woman is the second hottest. But this is the hottest woman in all of Star Trek. But anyway, her story is Kirk and her at a Christmas party got a little drunk and did the lovey-dovey. Now, in the morning, Kirk explained to her, "I shouldn't have done that. I'm your commanding officer," and she was hurt by that, but she accepted what they did was a mistake, and then she filed for a transfer. And Kirk said, "I can't do that again. I'm a captain. I can't do that. I can't do that." So that happened before the series started. So the one time Kirk hit on, he realized, "I can't do this. This is wrong." Now Kirk is getting laid every episode, but it's always with women that he's not the commanding officer.
Right.
It's always aliens. He's a ladies' man, but it's always somebody outside of Starfleet. Now, my problem is Riker hits on anything. He goes down to he's like a predator. He's hitting on all the women that he's subordinate, like all the women that he's subordinate.
Oh, yeah. Riker was 10 times the horn dog Kirk was.
Right, and he gets a pass. But I find Riker to, like, as much I like Jonathan Frakes, I like the character because he's the man's man and everything like that. But that guy's in the holodeck, banging illusions, and then he's hitting on, like, there's a couple of episodes where he's in 10 forward and he has that line, "Infinity never looked so beautiful as to when you're standing next." He's hitting on women that he has authority over. That's wrong. But the worst person in all of Star Trek is Dr. Bashir. He's hitting on his patients as he's examining them.
Yes.
What a freaking creep. And Kirk is the bad guy. Kirk had one lapse of judgment, and he used it as a learning expert. And he basically gives a lecture. And another thing about Kirk that people forget is Kirk was a nerd. In the episode The Conscience of the King, he's talking about reading Shakespeare.
Yeah, he's a theater nerd.
Right. And then he's talking in another episode, I can't think of the name of it, but he's just like, "Oh, I love this guy's lectures," because after class, I used to go down to the library and spend all night reading his lectures and blah, blah, blah. So Kirk is a man of action, but he's also a man of the mind. And that's why I love Kirk. Like, it's the Trinity. We got Bones, who's emotion, Spock is logic, and then Kirk is the perfect balance between them both. So it's always like Bones is the devil and Spock is the angel on his shoulders. They give him information, blah, blah, blah. And then he weighs it out. That's why, but every other Star Trek, Kirk is just runs out and beats everything up and then fucks it and blah, blah, blah. No. That's why I don't like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Oh, no, J.J. Abrams Star Trek's bad.
He's a jerk. He's banging it, sleeping with it. Like, they missed the point of Kirk. Kirk, he joins Starfleet under like on a whim, and then cheats his way up to the captainship. No, Kirk studied. He was the big story is the Kobayashi Maru, but that
was the only thing I did like that he did, because they actually showed it. The only thing I don't like is that they showed it. That should have been, yeah, we know he cheated, but we should never have learned exactly how. Should have been one of those giant mysteries. It's just, how did he cheat it? I'll never tell you. You know, he's that good.
Well,
It should have happened that way.
the Kobayashi Maru should have been like, the Kessel Run in Star Trek, never explained.
Yeah. And what they did when they explained the Kessel Run.
They ruined it, and me, what the Kessel Run was, Han Solo was desperate. So first off, you got to understand, Han Solo was a drug smuggling murderer. Okay, he was a dangerous person. He's hanging out in a land of scum and villainy, and this is how desperate Obi-Wan Kenobi is. I can't get caught by the Empire. If I get caught by the Empire, the galaxy is subjugated for forever.
And people just always seem to forget his last employer was Jabba the Hutt.
Right. And what is spice? Spice is drugs.
Spice is drugs. Really, really bad.
He's a drug smuggling murderer.
Yeah.
And Chewbacca will kill you if you beat him in chess. These are two bad people. And he goes to this place where you could literally cut people's arms off and nobody cares. You could shoot Guido in the face and nobody cares. It's apparently an everyday occurrence. This was a bad place they were going to. Farm boy Luke had no business being in that bar. You know what I mean? And Obi-Wan knew that. And then he finds a guy, and he's unsure of him. And then Han is so desperate for money because he's going to be killed by Jabba the Hutt. And so he goes, "You never heard of Millennium Falcon? It made the Kessel Run in 4.5 parsecs." Now, the beauty of that exchange is Obi-Wan knew that was bullshit. But the fact that this guy is spinning this bullshit shows that he is so desperate for money, he will do whatever it takes. You know what I mean? So Obi-Wan was like, "This is our guy. He's desperate."
Yeah. I would definitely say the pre-special edition Star Wars, why it worked so well, because it wasn't clean. It was dirty. Dirty, and it looked amazing.
Right.
So cleaned it all up, it looked bad.
He knows this. He knows that this 4.4. He knows this is just nonsense. And Han Solo thinks that he's tricking this old man.
Right.
And then they go on the mission, and then he has an arc where he becomes a good guy. That's the whole story of Han Solo. He was unnecessary in the rest of Star Wars, but it's Harrison Ford, and he's the coolest guy in the world. So you want him in your movie. But he said he wanted to be killed in Return of the Jedi. He's like, I got no stuff. So when they made the Solo movie, I'm like, this is the most unnecessary. And then they showed the Kessel Run. It's like, dude, you don't. To me, that was just it. That movie showed that they fundamentally didn't understand Han Solo, just as bad as Zack Snyder didn't understand Superman.
Exactly.
Did
you ever watch Babylon 5?
No, I never did.
In all honesty, when it comes to Voyager, DS9, all these shows, at time's a precious thing. I would just watch Babylon 5. It's probably season 1 through 4. 5 was a misstep because 4 was supposed to take place after 5, but he was told, Michael J. Kaczynski was told, this was it, finish it. And he's like, okay, I've got enough room, I can finish this. Ran to the finish line amazingly, and once people found out it was getting cut, started watching it, and the ratings went through the roof, and then they gave him season 5. So season 5 was a giant cleanup of everything.
If you watch Fridge, it was like 4 seasons of a big story, and then they're like, make one more season. That was totally unnecessary. Or Supernatural. Supernatural was 5 excellent seasons. It crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and then they went 7 more seasons. By the end,
that's they jumped a shark.
It was like, end the freaking show already.
Yeah, with Babylon 5, you can end at season 4. You can. Season 5 has a lot of characters I did like with story wrap-ups, but season 4 was the true ending. I think you would thoroughly enjoy it because of how many angles, layers, and personality types Michael is able to write so well. I mean, like, you have emissaries of these different races and their personality quirks, and some of them end up going to war each other, and they used to be friends up on the bridge, and now their race is at war. Now they're at ends, and just cool, really good stuff, really good drama. Effects are a little dated, but the practical effects are beautiful. B5, I can't give it enough compliments.
Yeah,
Season
everybody
1.
says to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is when I have time to watch TV, I just read comics instead. So people are amazed at like basic shows I've never watched. You know, and then I'm at the age now of like I don't want to start this new series. I'll just watch Star Trek again, the original Star Trek. Yeah,
I think with B5, I think because you and I have a lot of similar tastes, it's going to be very easy for you to bite into because it scratches a lot of our itches.
a lot of people I respect like Bob Lamfar, and they also say Farscape. I gotta watch Farscape too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Farscape's good. It's a great. If you're not quite ready for White Dwarf yet, Farscape's a good introduction.
All I know is
weird sci-fi.
All I know is the I'm done with Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, after Eccleston, and then Tennant, and then Matt Smith, and then Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi, I liked Peter Capaldi a lot. I could not stand his companion, the teacher. I want to be with the doctor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be with this guy. I want to be with the doctor. It's like every episode, 5 times in every episode. I'm like, this is so monotonous.
Oh, the pretty what? Why can't I think of her name? The pretty girl.
No, this one was a short brunette. She was attractive. Don't get me wrong. They called her the Impossible Woman.
Yeah. She started with Matt Smith, and then she with Capaldi.
And she was.
My problem with her is she when she got killed, she got shot in that alleyway,
mm-hmm.
and then Doctor Who gave he manipulated time so that
wibbly wobbly.
But that was the best ending. It was great. She was killed. It was dramatic. It was a great ending. And then all of a sudden she found the TARDIS and she became space lesbians for eternity. It's like, knock it off.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
I don't know who was writing it at the time, but I give them a lot of props. Even though they did technically have a happy ending, I give them a lot of props for having the angels kill Rory and Amy. I saw so many people fucking crying.
My problem with that is, they're locked in time. So what does that mean?
They can spend the next years never getting sick.
Yeah, so they got sent to New York in the 1930s, and it's time locked. So could Doctor Who go to 1940 and get them?
No, they are a fixture in time.
Yeah, but
except for they keep breaking that rule anyway.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. It's not consistent. You know what they should have just said is they got sent back to 1930s, and Doctor Who goes to rescue them, and they're like, "No, we're good. We're going to stay here."
We've lived that life. We are done.
We relax. Okay, because there is a couple of the old back in black and white Doctor Who's a couple. First off, the original two. Why can't I think of the names? But the science teacher and the history teacher, Ian Chesterton, and why can't I think of? But they just were like, we're done, and they just left, and and then one of them, Poppy, I think her name was, she just literally said drop me off, I'm tired, I want to go back to a normal life. So why not Rory? And it's time for us to raise a family. We're not getting any younger, and this is great. We kind of know what the future is going to be like. We have a safe couple of years. We kind of like this simple lifestyle after the whole time lock. They didn't need to do that. And then Capaldi's companion, Bill, the black girl.
Oh, I didn't even watch that far.
The funny thing is whenever they get a new companion, I instantly don't like them. I liked Bill right away because she started asking interesting questions. Like everybody else was like, "It's bigger than me," but she started making, oh wow, she's saying interesting things. So I liked her right away. I didn't care that she was black and a lesbian, stuff like that, because they didn't really play it up. They played her up as like really curious and asking smart questions, and I kind of liked her right away.
I would love, yeah, a good science nerd inside would have been nice.
And the problem with her is she was killed by the Cybermen, and Doctor Who abandoned her, and
Oh,
he,
yeah.
and he abandoned Nardoyle too. But then, for whatever reason, like an image or a ghost of her came back and became an eternal space lesbian. Are we noticing a pattern here? You know,
Oh, yeah.
the same thing happened to. It's funny that I can't remember the Impossible Girl's name. You know, but two companions in a row were killed, but then they chickened out at the last minute, brought them back, and then they became eternal space lesbians. It's like,
Well, don't forget, they actually turned the Doctor into an eternal space lesbian.
right, and then regenerated into the woman, which kind of bothered me.
Well, it's just it's dumb. It's a Time Lord. It doesn't change its sex, right?
Right.
It just reincarnates itself, right?
Well, they set it up with the Master turning into a woman.
Yeah.
Then they use that. It's like
the BBC.
Yeah, it bothered me. My wife was like, "No, Doctor Who's a man. Doctor Who's a man."
And the thing is, Doctor, if they wanted a female Doctor, he has a daughter.
Right.
They just forgot about her.
Right. The original Doctor had, he had a granddaughter. You know.
David Tennant's Doctor has a daughter.
Right. He has. Well, he obviously has other kids from his first incarnation. But what the hell was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say.
You're like me, the slice derailer. Like, it'll come back in 5 minutes. Watch.
But my wife was just like, the Doctor is a man, and she didn't like that they turned her into a woman. Now I didn't like it either. But if they had good material, they would have won me over. The material was just preachy and awful, and then all the companions sucked.
Absolutely.
That Indian cop girl, she was annoying. The black guy with like anxiety. Who gives a fuck about anxiety? I did like the old man though. I liked him. I forget his name.
It's hard for me because what's his name? Such a great character, Wilford. I love Wilford.
Oh, Wilf, yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
Like the Dr. Donna, that was great. She had a great ending. She became insufferable again. Like, but
her comeback was absolutely. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, but it was shit on a stick.
What's that?
The comeback of Donna. Dr. Donna.
When did she
Dr. Donna back?
Oh, what recently?
Yeah, in this last season.
And with the female Doctor or the new black Doctor?
The new black Doctor, and they're giving him shit, going, "Your old persona would have known better than this." The male presenting Doctor, both her and her trans daughter. I'm like, oh God, this is mind-numbingly retarded.
Well, they succeeded in destroying the show.
Oh,
but like I said, the episode where this big fat black woman is running down the street, huffing and puffing, and she's like 60 years old. She's like 300 pounds, and then she pulls out like a space laser, and she's like, "You don't know who I am? I'm the Doctor." And then, and I was like, "What?" So I was like, "I gotta watch this next episode. How the hell do they explain it?" She was the
opposite of me. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm out.
She was the Doctor from before the first Doctor, which breaks all the continuity, breaks everything. And now there's infinite Doctors. There were women, there were men, and I was just like, I'm done, and that was it. I've never watched Doctor Who again.
Or the fact that the Doctor isn't even a Time Lord. They changed that. That's fucking dumb. Sorry, bad language. That's fucking dumb.
Who cares what he is?
Yeah, he's a Time Lord, and the whole idea was he saw where his race was going with their technology and stuff like that, and that's why he decided to grab the TARDIS and realize it was too dangerous in their hands, and he bailed with it, not knowing he was going to set a chain reaction that ended up, taking Gallifrey into its own timeline. And that's the whole thing I loved about the Doctor is he was skipping through time, solving problems, but at the same time running from his own past.
Right. Yeah. He was wanted by the Time Lords for stealing it. The TARDIS.
The TARDIS.
This my first major problem with Doctor Who was the War Doctor, John Hurt as a Doctor. That it was totally unnecessary.
It was unnecessary, but my God, did I love John Hurt.
I love John Hurt. He did a great performance, but it broke the story. You know, he became the War because Eccleston was the broken Doctor. He was the sad Doctor. You know, he was the guilty Doctor. And before that was McGann, the Eighth Doctor. He only had one appearance in that made-for-TV American movie, and he still is fit. And then later on, they made like a little segment where you see him regenerate into the Ninth Doctor, and then he regenerates rather into the War Doctor. They showed that, you know, later on. He still could have played. He had no story. He was a blank slate. He could have been the War Doctor.
Yeah.
There was no need for John Hurt other than we wanted John Hurt. And it broke the numbering, you know.
Yeah, the numbering's gone.
And it just, to me, was disrespectful to Peter, Peter McGann. He should have, that was his story, and then he should have regenerated into Eccleston. And did you notice Eccleston was bisexual?
No.
Yeah, that was the whole, that episode, The Doctor Dances. You know, that Are You My Mommy? That episode introduces, that episode introduces, what's his name? The guy from Torchwood.
He's actually, I like his character a lot because up until season 3 of Torchwood, after that, I just went, ugh. What is his name?
I'll say, what
Harkness.
was it, Children of Man?
Children of Man, I loved.
Is one of the best science fiction stories of all time.
I love Children of Man. That was,
and then the other one where Nobody Could Fly was ridiculously bad.
yeah. After his boyfriend died, and he was like, he was broken. He was just like, I'm gone. I can't be here anymore, and he leaves. That was a perfect ending, right? Because you know he needs to be his own person in space, doing his space.
Why can't I think of that character's name?
Harkness.
Jack Harkness.
Yeah.
So they introduced Jack Harkness. If you remember, Rose was getting pissed off because the Doctor, she was sexually interested in Eccleston in that episode. And they pick up Jack Harkness, and she starts sleeping with Jack Harkness. Like, and there's a couple of, they're walking around the TARDIS, and her bra is laying around, and Eccleston is like, he realizes he's losing Rose. And she says, do you dance? And Eccleston says, yeah, I dance. And they dance around. And then it's implied that they all have a threesome. And that's why Harkness is following around the Doctor like a sick puppy.
I didn't even think about it that way when I watched that.
He's in love with and that's why he's literally carrying his hand. You know.
Well, I knew. I thought his love for the Doctor, and that kind of spoils his character for me a little bit.
Yeah,
his love for the Doctor was actually a pure love. It was just like,
no,
I love this man for who he is. 100%.
But don't you remember? He literally kisses him on camera, and then they fade. He grabs him by the head and he gives him.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But that's more of a. Yeah, I'm going to give you a kiss goodbye whether you like it or not, kind of thing. And he's like, he knows it's not going to be sexual because the Doctor is going to do it that way. But he's going to give him one on the kiss.
But basically, because he's too lost, he's too hurt by the destruction of his people and everything like that. He knows like Rose is frothing at the mouth for some lovey-doveys, and he won't provide it. So he sees Jack Harkness is a horn dog. He's banging everything,
right?
And then he ends up joining them. It's like a behind-the-scenes throuple, you know. And then he just abandons Jack Harkness, I guess, when he gets over it. It's Doctor Who could be kind of heartless, you know.
That kind of spoils. I think I'll have to go back and rewatch that because I liked Rose and the Doctor, and I actually liked speaking of companions, though, that first set of what 6 companions were all good. Mickey, Rose, her name wasn't Martha. What was her name? The black girl was a nurse.
Martha Jones. She's my favorite. First off, I find her so sexy, and second off, no companion did so much for so little.
Yeah.
Well, traveled the world preaching the doctrine of the Doctor, so that everybody generated that psychic energy.
Dude,
and then she professed her love for him, and he just blew her off. And then
she ended up with Mickey, dude, and they ended up being like
seconds of Mickey.
Mm-hmm. Well, I loved seeing Mickey and her together at the end. You know, when he was going through everything, and I'm like, you know what? Because those two deserve to be happy,
right?
And I'm like, I really don't like the fact that you keep screwing these two characters over. I like these two characters, and the fact that he actually was nice enough to give them their own little corner of happiness. Right? It wasn't too much to ask for, and it was done very well, and it wasn't beaten over your head with either. It's like, hey, do you notice they're as they fly over or whatever. I don't remember how it ended, but yeah, I liked a lot of Doctor Who. Another thing I liked about Doctor Who was when Tennant died, right, and he formed into Matt Smith's Doctor. When he died, the death was so traumatic, and the fact that he was the first time you ever seen the Doctor say, "I'm not ready. I don't want to go."
Yeah. Oh,
this
man.
is bullshit.
My wife burst into tears when he said that.
So did I, especially with
Will Cox.
Yeah, I'm like,
oh my
God. I'm like, oh my God.
When Doctor Who was so good.
Yeah, and I think that's why Matt Smith's Doctor was born stupid. He was like a child, trying to eat everything, trying to play with everything. He's like, dur, 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 dur. No other Doctor was born that dumb. He was.
And Rory,
she
was a stripper.
Yeah. She was a cop stripper, or the dial stripper.
Yeah, she was a kissogram, but she was like a door-to-door stripper. Not door-to-door, but like a come-to-your-house stripper. You know what I mean? Oh, man, Amy Pond, man. She was... Her and Martha were I just thought they were so freaking hot.
I love River because I love River's hair. I'm a big red hair guy.
Yeah,
I love
every comic book guy is a red hair girl.
Yeah. Sonia screwed all of our ideals up a bit. And big hair for me, I think, came from Gina Davis.
Oh yeah,
I'm about Gina Davis because I love big lips too, and Gina Davis has big lips and big hair. And a button nose. It's just like, okay.
I got to introduce you to my friend Jen. She's single. She's our age. She looks like she's 25. And every year for Halloween, she dresses up as River Song, and she looks amazing. So,
no, that's not fair because I'm all the way over in the other side of the country.
She comes over and plays board games with us, and she dresses up as River Song.
Yeah, just
to the point I didn't recognize her because she
That's always awesome. I miss a little bit of the cosplay on some of my old stuff. You can see like my old Game of Thrones. I used to have a full Night's Watch regalia. One of my friends down in LA, I haven't spoke to him in years, and I want to wait till I get stable with finances and everything before I get back in contact with people. And he's a producer down in LA, and he goes as the Hound because he's yeah. And I that's how I met him. I was doing a makeup demo at WonderCon, and I was just doing something, and this big guy comes up to me, covered in sweat, right? Just he's like, "Can you help me? My face is falling off." And I'm like, "Yeah, have a seat." You know, and my instructor's there too, obviously. And he's just like, you know, we're talking and stuff like that, and I do his makeup. And I didn't know this guy from Adam. I was like, "Yeah, I'm already doing makeup. I can fix yours. Don't worry about it." And he's like, find out he's a producer. He has a comic book too. I gotta find out what the name of his comic book was. He did write a comic book and produce it. He's also the marketing director of an independent film group called Legion M. If you look them up, they're people that. Did you ever see Colossal with Anne Hathaway?
No.
Where she sleepwalks and it's actually a kaiju attack in Korea. That's one of the films that he helped produce. or his company helped produce. And he's like, so I put his face on, and he stands up, and he's the Hound, right? Because I think he is 6'8". I think Rory is like 6'10". So he's a little bit shorter than Rory, and of course Rory's huge. And but I did his makeup for several years straight. It'd be pro bono. Don't get me wrong. He would like, oh, you can't make it to Comic-Con this year? I got you. Go to Comic-Con San Diego.
Did you do animation?
I don't do animation at all.
Oh, okay. Because I just talked. I was earlier today. I was talking with somebody who does animation, and I sent the links to like a couple of guys that I know that because the animation field has been devastated. So I sent him links. I contact my friends. This guy's doing animation. So I was going to send you his contact. His contact information, but I for some reason I thought you did animation too.
I would love for old school animation to do a hard comeback because there is so much.
Well, this guy wants to do comics, and he wants to make a comic, and then he wants to do like a 30-minute cartoon about each comic. And I don't ask people their finances, but I get the feeling he's pretty well off. So so I was like, oh, this guy's an out of work animator because the whole field is. I got two guys working with me that are out of work animators. So for some reason I had it in my head that you were also an animator, but
No. I worked in special effects makeup.
That's right. That's right.
Horns turn you into a zombie.
He's also a stuntman. He's special effects.
Well, then if he's like, hey, I want you to take half my face off with the worm wiggling out. I got you, boss.
That's cool. That's oh my. I don't. So this is a weird stream. I started out trying to sort comics. I got to get like a long cord.
Derailer, sorry.
What's that?
I am the derailer.
No, that's fine because I was gonna shut it off until and then I was gonna. I might do a stream where I just go through all the cards and explain everything. But I'm getting sleepy now. Oh my God, it's almost 4:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah, it's getting late for you. It's late for me too. Normally I'm been asleep 3 hours ago.
Oh yeah, I think we'll go now.
Yeah, you know what? We had a good conversation, good run. People got to listen.
You want to promote?
I'm
gonna set you off now because I know I'll sleep too late. So.
Yeah, no, everything I'm doing is doing through you right now. I'm not doing anything independently. I am probably tomorrow going to record some videos. I have some indie comic books I'm going to go through and review, and I don't know, maybe just get some stuff off my chest. We'll see.
Okay. Well, at noon today, I have Sandy Peterson, the guy who created the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. He's also creator of the video game Doom that we've all played.
Mm-hmm.
Cthulhu Wars, and so many. He's had his hand in so many. He's been on my channel before. He's the kind of guy that I just say hello and he talks.
Oh, yeah, Sandy's awesome.
He's absolutely awesome. He's my favorite Twitter. It's just interesting fact after interesting fact. Very interesting guy. And then at midnight, I have a talk with a newbie comic collector. So it's a guy who's just getting into comics. I think that would be an interesting thing to talk about. And then Tuesday, I got Chuck Dixon.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
And then maybe I'll have a comic book team up again with RJ this Wednesday because I'm done with this crazy schedule.
So tomorrow, you said noon your time, right?
Noon my time and then midnight my time.
Okay, so noon your time will be 3 my time. No. Noon your time, so it'd be 9 o'clock my time. I'll be in a doctor's office.
Oh, okay. But there you go. I'll see. I want to ask you something, so don't go away.
Okay.
All right. See you, everybody. So, bye, kids.